My OBS is crashed today, so I have some technical glitches on today's stream. Okay, I think now it's streaming. Let me quickly check my Twitch dashboard. Yeah, I'm live here. Yes, I'm live here. So before that, I just make sure my audio is working. Yes, I'm live here. So before that, I just make sure my audio is working. Okay, great. That also working. So I just switch my scene. So once I am done with my startup countdown, I just switch my scene. The OBS just got crashed. I don't know the reason why that is. Probably I should check the logs from my system log. Okay. In the meanwhile, let's today we are going to focus on two things. One is we are going to complete the dashboard module in the IoT Edge solution. So the dashboard module is nothing but the kiosk application. So we are going to build a React application so that that React application can be rendered in Raspberry Pi monitor, and we are trying to include that as another IoT Edge module. So we are just like playing with that one, how the communication between the module works. So we have the temperature sensor module that's sending the data every 5 seconds. So our idea is like how we can build a GUI module in the IoT Edge solution that is containing this the kiosk. So this React application is going to listen for the event from the sensor module, and whenever the data is coming from the temperature sensor module, then this React application going to display on that in the real time, right? So we were in that part. So now let's go and look the code where we have left. Before that, I need to do a couple of things. um, Going to add a dashboard module to IoT Edge. I'm just like a IoT Edge solution and preparation for demo of GraphQL talk and my Twitch. Please do join me. I will put it in the Facebook as well. I'm setting like a couple of notification for this Twitch stream. Today I was a little bit late. Okay, that also sent. Now opening my Twitch dashboard here. Okay, now let's continue with like where we have left. Right, we have this IoT Edge solution. So we are basically like building the board classification thing. So the idea here is like the board classification stuff. Um, so assume this Raspberry Pi with the camera and some monitor that's going to be somewhere in the C short, right? So what it's going to do is it's continuous. So I'm trying to build a reference implementation. So this reference implementation, like probably we might be bringing more module, or how the IoT, how like the complete IoT Edge solution looks like. So it may be contained like a different modules for reusable purpose, including like application insights and how the communication between the module works, and how the customization we can do, and how we can do the Azure function in the IoT Edge. So it's pretty much like bringing all the components together and try to adopt it into a one solution, so that I can use that for the reference implementation, if I'm trying to do the IoT Edge solution project in my day job, or I'm doing my my custom side project. At the time, I might be using this for reference implementation. So that's the idea. So we have already exported the board classification. So we uploaded the image data types, and we exported that into the Docker file. So we already have the pre-trained model, so we can we can predict the images using that pre-trained model at any time. Right now we just created the IoT Edge solution, and we look how we can add the IoT Edge module and how IoT Edge module works. So we are trying to get the overall picture how everything works, right? So I will open this in that Visual Studio Code. So if you go, you can go and see it in my repository. So if one second, I'm just opening my repository here. There are Twitch commands. I need to add that in my Twitch. I'm not sure how to add that. I might be adding that later, so that you can, whenever you can go and get what I am working on today, and also what are the repository location and all, right? So here we have added this board classification thing. So this is what I am trying to do. It contains a reference IoT Edge solution, this stuff. So I'm putting together this in this repository, so that it's continuously we are developing and pushing this into this repository, and as well as we are updating the documentation. So later we would be putting how everything is coming together, so that solution architecture diagram and other things we would be doing. It has this board classification ML. So this is the exported module. So you can go and see it in the README, how to build the Docker image and how to run that in locally, right? Now this is what we are working on, the IoT Edge solutions. So I'm going to open that IoT Edge solution directory, IoT Edge solution, and I'm opening that in the Visual Studio Code. So here, I think last Saturday we just created the ping module and the pong module to see how we can add the modules and how the communication between the module happens. Now we don't need this ping and pong module, but we are going to add this temperature sensor module and temperature sensor module and dashboard module. So those are the things we are going to take a look at that. So let's see that, right? So for that one, let's go and see where I have left. I think my audio sound is too much. Okay, I think now it's better, right? Okay, so we have this temperature sensor. So if we go and see this temperature sensor module code, it has it's opening the client from the environment. That client is nothing but the module client, and you can have oh, and you can have okay, sorry, my audio is something messed up. I think it's sound and everything is coming correctly, right? Yeah. Okay. Let me switch the scene. I hope it shouldn't crash. Yeah, it didn't crash. So you can see this the VS Code and the temperature sensor module, the temperature sensor IoT Edge module. It's opening from the environment. It's opening this module client. So the module client basically it's giving the facility to communicate between the modules, and also sending the data to upstream, which is Azure IoT Hub, and also it's able to communicate with the downstream as well. So downstream, upstream, in the sense like the IoT Edge device, it's running in the IoT Edge runtime on the device itself. So there is a leaf device. So your physical device, that is called a leaf device. So that leaf device. So leaf device that's having like the actual code, that's Azure IoT Hub. There is Azure IoT Edge device also. So that's a device that is running on your IoT Edge runtime. So all your modules, all your sensor modules, dashboard modules, or whatever the modules you are trying to bring in, that's in the IoT Edge runtime, that's running in the IoT Edge runtime. So from the IoT Edge runtime, you can like send the data to Azure IoT Hub, and also you can retrieve the data from your hardware or physical device. So you can communicate between like both the downstream and the upstream thing. So that's what this module client is giving that capabilities or the functionalities. So we are opening that client to open on connecting to the edge instance. So what we are doing here is every 5 seconds we are sending the data. We are sending the data in the event called temperature, and the message includes temperature and the timestamp. Right now we didn't like read anything from the sensor, we just like generating the random interval from 0 to 80. So we have done this. Now the next thing what we are doing is creating the dashboard module. Yesterday we started this one, but we thought of like creating the React application, but I'm just thinking like creating the React application, that's another node module right here. And there is a server running here, so there are like a couple of node modules in the same thing. I'm just thinking of like a one package.json for this Docker image, and building everything includes server and the React application. So usually the React application is like whenever you are creating, it's targeted to build for static files. It's not having any embedded express server or the static server. For our case, some static server needs to be running always, so that it would be receiving all these temperature module data, the temperature sensor data. Then it's sending the data to the WebSocket client up to the React.js application. So I'm going to delete this module and fine tune this little bit in the cleaner way, so that the dashboard module contains both React and the Express server using the same package.json instead of like having multiple project. So I'm going to delete this dashboard module. That includes in the deployment template.json. What's this invalid image? Okay. And in this template.json as well. So I can just like do like this. So I removed the dashboard thing. Now what I'm going to do is create Azure IoT Edge, add IoT Edge module using a deployment template.json, selecting the Node.js module. I'm going to call that as a dashboard, and it's localhost 5000 dashboard. So it's executing that node IoT Edge module generator. So let it be running. In the meanwhile, okay, I need to do some more Google on that, so that like I want to see is there any generator available including the React application that's running side by side on the Express server. Okay, it's executing. Let's wait for something. Okay, it's created this dashboard model. Now let's go back to our Google. So going to Google, I'm just seeing like a create React tab with the Express backend. It creates project structure for you all set up and go. But if your app is not purely front end, what if you need to connect to create React app as okay. In this post alongside an Express via some UI. So they are creating Express React backend. Okay. Yeah, I don't need the proxy. I just want to run like React and Express. Like I can do that. I'm just looking like is there any standard template there? Create React app, create a client directory, and move all React. Okay, create a package JSON in the root directory that has Express, and it using concurrently to do that. Um, yeah, this one I can do, but still it requires like okay. Um, yeah, I'm looking like this so that even the client will not be including the package.json and the node modules. That should be like a too much overhead for maintaining like a client server everything. I'm just going to put some dashboard stuff, right? Okay, so here it is. Still it's setting up the proxy. Okay, if that's the way it is. Hi Brian, how are you? How is your day? Yeah, thanks for coming and watching. I'm really excited. Yes, I inspired from you. I'm doing some Node.js and IoT stuff. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for coming. It really meant me. So I can quickly show you what I'm doing. So I'm trying to create a Azure IoT Edge reference solution. So I'm trying to bring like all that good stuff into the Azure IoT Edge solution. Basically, I'm learning so that like building a full-fledged IoT Edge solution and going through the Visual Studio documents on the IoT Edge and trying to bring everything together. Yeah. So this is what my repository board classification. So the idea is my Raspberry Pi that's having camera and a monitor. So this is the idea. I just like trying to simulate that. So I'm going to put this Pi and camera with monitor in seashore, right? So it's going to continuously watch like what are the boats going on and what type of boat it is. That's the idea. So I'm just like simulating for like this IoT edge learning. So I'm trying to do this. For that, I already built this custom mission.ai. I already got a data from Kaggle about the different boat types. So I just went to the custom mission.ai and I have this project called boat classification. So I have uploaded all the images from the data sets and I tagged into the different boat types. For example, like a ferry, cruise, kayak, sail, gondola, freight. So I just like uploaded all the different boat type image, and I trained that, and my training result is here. So here I exported my train thing. So I exported that into the Docker so that I am able to run that from the Azure IoT Edge. So that's the part I have done before. Now I am trying to see like what are the different communication patterns on the IoT Edge, because IoT Edge is like a modular architecture, so we can bring multiple modules into the IoT Edge solution. So if you are thinking like a complete IoT Edge solution, we can bring temperature sensor module or humidity sensor module. We can reuse the module between different IoT Edge solution. So I'm just like playing around with that, like how the communication happens, and how I can develop the GUI application for IoT Edge solution. For example, I'm having the kiosk that's displaying like the temperature sensor data or humidity sensor data. So how I can bring the React application into this IoT Edge solution. So those are the things I'm looking into that. I think that makes sense, right? Yeah, I think so. So now I'm trying to create this dashboard module, and this dashboard module includes the React UI application. So if you see that's yeah, thanks Brian. So if you see this dashboard, we need some client application also running here. So I'm just thinking like this app.js, this would be taking care of connecting to the different modules, including the temperature sensor module. We are sending the data from the temperature sensor. So I'm trying to build a dashboard application here. So for that, let's go back to our terminal and going inside the modules, dashboard module. So here I am. Okay, the first thing I would do is I would be making sure I'm able to get the temperature sensor data, whatever we are sending here, that is a random temperature, to the dashboard module, right? So this app.js is the temperature module, and okay, how to open the new file? This always I'm like open to the side. Okay, I'm trying to open the new file. I think Brian mentioned something on here, prefix, or not the prefix one, preview. Yeah, so if I uncheck this, it should open the new file every time. Is it so? Yeah, that's, yeah, this is what I try to look at that. Okay, so we will see whether the data that's sent from temperature sensor, we are able to get it on the dashboard. So for that one, if you see the temperature sensor, we are sending the output event temperature. So all this module is communicating using the event driven architecture. So it's continuously sending like a output event, and it's not worrying about like who is getting that event and all. Every module is like it's a separate module. It's in the sandbox thing. So it's not thinking about like other modules. So this temperature sensor module, it doesn't even aware about like the dashboard module. So it's like reading the data from the sensor, and it's continuously sending data to the output event. And in the dashboard, what we are going to do is in the app.js, whenever there is a input message that's coming in, we are seeing like whether we are able to get that message. So the input name is temperature. So if it's able to get the temperature, then we should be seeing what temperature message it is. So I just put like console log message here. Okay, so now we will run both the temperature sensor and the dashboard module. So building and run IoT Edge solution in simulator. So running in the simulator in the sense like it's running in the AMD 64 architecture in whatever the host OS it is. It's not running in the ARM architecture. Still we are running that in the simulator. So once you deploy that in the Raspberry Pi, you would be having this ARM architecture. Okay, it's building this Docker. Let's see. Makes, yeah. So each module is running in like a different Docker container. That's a thing like I really fascinated about the IoT Edge solution. So since it is running in the different Docker container, let's see like we have thousands of devices that's running in the production, right? And the problem with the device and the mobile application, it's it's always like it's not having the control for the updates. If it is a server application, we have the controls. So I'm pushing some patch or fixing the bugs, I can just like immediately deploy and that would be refreshed in the server. But thinking about like the mobile and the or these kind of IoT devices or the application, it's like a one-time release, right? So that means like you are releasing 1.5 version, and after that you realize like there is a patch available, then you are releasing like 1.6. In mobile application, it's not like necessarily user should update to 1.6 or 7. They might like dismiss the update notification, right? So literally you need to support like all the version you are released. The same case in the IoT Edge device as well. So the IoT Edge, yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for coming. It really means to me. I'm really happy. So in the IoT and the mobile device, so if you take the mobile device, the update is not in your control, right? Similar way in the IoT device, the update is not in your control, or like the update should be deployed immediately to that the device if you see any patches or if you find any bug fixes on that application. So it should be immediately deployed. So so think about that, right? So you are having like a solution that's deployed in thousands of devices in real time scenario, right? Or in the production, then you need to roll out the updates to all the 1,000 devices. Think about like how much time it would take if you are doing like the full upgrade, how much downtime it's taking for the IoT Edge device and all. Since this kind of like a Docker solution, you can like push a module specific update. For example, I have a update in the temperature sensor module. I'm just like building the temperature sensor module, uploaded the Docker container to registry and triggering the update. Then in the IoT Edge device, it's just like pulling the layer, whichever it's updated in the Docker container, it's pulling that layer only to the update and refresh its logic, right? So this kind of like a containerization and the module specifically in the IoT Edge device, that's going like that's going to help enormously. So we are just, why it's not building? Okay, I try to build it again. So building this IoT Edge solution, that's you can see like it's trying to build all the Docker modules for these modules. So all the information that is coming from this deployment template.json. So in the IoT solution, the deployment template.json, you are having the different configuration, including including like what are the modules it has. So there is a two modules, system modules. One is Edge Agent and Edge Hub. So this is completely maintained from that IoT Edge runtime in the device. You can add like the custom application modules as well. So here we have added the ping module, pong module, and the temperature sensor dashboard. So we just like played with the ping and pong module to see like how the communication works between those modules. So you can see this ping module has the image. So this image is nothing but the Docker image. So if I'm like hovering over the Visual Studio Code, just displaying like what's that in the Docker file. So basically that's a Node 8 image, Docker image, and it has like a certain script. So whenever you deploy this IoT Edge solution in your device or either in the simulator, what it's going to do is it's going to go through like what are the list of modules that it has in the deployment and pull all the images from the registry based on the configuration, and it's going to spin the application. So each module is going to be a separate Docker container or Docker application that's running on the IoT Edge runtime. So how this thing's going to work is, for example, I'm having the sensor module, and also I'm having some dashboard module or Azure functions. So the sensor module is going to continuously emit like what is the temperature data. Then this function module is going to filter like the data, and whenever there is temperature is going above or below the threshold, it's going to send the alert to IoT hub, right? So those kind of communication thing, you can set up the routes. So that routes is like here. So the Edge Hub routes contain like a temperature sensor to IoT Hub or dashboard to IoT Hub. Even you can send like a temperature sensor to dashboard, those kind of things, right? So that's the thing we are looking today. So it's building all the container. So I just gave my thing. Now the Docker is trying to run these Docker containers in the IoT Edge runtime. We are using the simulator, so we didn't run it on the Raspberry Pi device yet. So you can see like it's running on this AMD 64 simulator, and you can see like there is a Docker file for different architecture as well, including AMD 64 and ARM 32v7. And also it has like a debug configuration, which basically like open the port for debug that's contained like inspect script here. Okay, so it's running. You can see like it's creating the cloud proxy to connect to my IoT hub, and creating the cloud connection. Okay, now you can see like the ping module, it's continuously sending the message. Temperature sensor is sending the temperature as well. Now my dashboard thing should be receiving the message from the temperature sensor, right? So for that thing, what we need to do is we need to set the route. So if you go and see in the deployment template.json, we are just like the route is going to temperature sensor to directly to the IoT hub. That means whatever the temperature that's sending right now, you can see that in monitoring device to cloud message. That's so the IoT hub is receiving the data from the temperature sensor. So you can see like the randomly generated temperature and the timestamp, it's going to the upstream because we set up the route here temperature sensor to IoT hub. So whatever the messages that is coming from the temperature sensor, we are sending that to the upstream in the sense like here it's Azure IoT hub. So instead of that, what we need to do is we need to send the data from temperature sensor to dashboard, also temperature sensor to dashboard, so that it would be displayed in the dashboard. So what I am going to do is I am going to change the route, and there is no message should be going from dashboard to IoT hub, because dashboard is just a GUI application for this IoT Edge. So for this I already have these nodes here, what we have tested for ping module to pong module, right? So we are setting up the route here like temperature sensor to dashboard. So from messages module, temperature sensor outputs into brokered endpoint into the dashboard module. And the input, I think it can be anything. Let's see whether this one is working. So I set up the route from the temperature sensor to the dashboard. Now we will deploy this one again. Using the deployment template.json. Okay, it stopped all the Docker containers and rebuilding the application and rerunning it again. Okay, it initializes all those connections. Let's see. Yeah. Now you can see like the temperature sensor, it's sending the temperature message, and from the dashboard, it receiving the message. That means like whatever that's output from the temperature module, that's received in the dashboard module. So here, if I am going to this app.js, but it's not like returning this one. I'm just looking how to. Okay, it says message completed, so it's not the temperature thing. Let me put a console.log here that's contain client input name and the message. So let me rebuild it again using deployment template.json. In the meanwhile, I will stop this, build run deployment template.json. So it's building all the modules again. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So it has. I think the client is printing the entire client stuff, including the certificate. Oh, that's. I think it's a CA certificate only, but The client contains CA certificate in memory. Okay. User agent string, all the other stuff. I think I don't need the client. I just need the input name only, I think. So let me rebuild it. I think client contain like a lot of stuff. So building deployment template.json. Stop this one. Trying to build it again. Okay, it's starting this stuff. Now we can see like what's coming from the dashboard module. So the dashboard module, the message, it's having some data. So we need to make sure what's that is coming in the data. I'm just looking like the input name. I didn't get like any input name here. So how to differentiate that input name? Okay, let me do one thing. Um, oh, okay, that's what the input name here. So the inputs, I would say like a temperature input, but that means like whatever that's coming from the temperature sensor, we are sending that to the temperature input here. So let me put a temperature input as well. So instead of this one, console.log message, and try to run the IoT Edge solution again. Before that, I will stop this thing. So it's building all this stuff. Okay, it's creating this edge device and all. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so now I'm seeing the message that is, so you can see like the dashboard is able to get the data from the temperature sensor. So basically it's getting like a temperature and the timestamp that is printed out in this app.js here. So now what we are going to do is let that it be here. So now the next thing what we are going to do is we are going to create the React application, right? That's what our goal is. So in this dashboard thing, I'm going to create the application. So let's call that as a client. And here I'm going to do the create React app that is called client here. So using this one, we should be able to create a kiosk application or the GUI application there. So let's run this thing. I'm just like still wondering, this should add like more build script to the dashboard module, because we already have this server module that's keep on running for connecting this IoT Edge communication and as well as the WebSocket server, because we have this Azure IoT Edge thing, right? So the sensor module is going to send the data to dashboard module, and the dashboard module we need to communicate to the client. So for that we would be using the WebSocket server. So whenever there is a message that's coming and clicking here, then we should be sending that to that client application. So that's what we are trying to see. Let's see. Okay, it's still building this thing. In the meanwhile, we will just go back to our Google, create React app with Express backend. Yeah, this what we are trying to. Yeah, okay. So CD client, and it also has the npm package stuff. So npm, it's already did the npm install. So npm start, it should start the React scripts and open the React.js application in localhost 3000. So it's doing all the build here, starting the development server, and application is opening in the localhost 3000. Okay, I think it's taking some time. So we should be changing our Docker file little bit for building that. Before that, we would be doing the app.js express stuff there. I think I already put somewhere here. Desktop app.js. This one we yesterday little bit looked at that. So I just copy the same thing. Not copy the, yeah, copy the same thing and put it here. So whenever the input message coming from, and the input message is temperature input, then the WebSocket is emitting the temperature input, that message. So for this one, we need to install socket.io. So I'm adding socket.io into package.json. So going back to the console, localhost 3000, it's already running here. You can see this React thing. So what we are going to do right now is uh, board classification, modules, IoT Edge solution, going to the modules dashboard module, right? So in this package.json, we implemented the WebSocket server. So that would be installed here. The next thing what we are going to do is we are going inside the client, and here we are going to install socket.io client. Okay, so if you see the code in the dashboard module, we are just like started the socket IO server. So whenever this IoT Edge environment, that's the input message is coming from the temperature sensor, we are emitting that in the sockets. That's having the message, another message here, right? So now the client application is going to listen for the WebSocket connection from the server and get the data from the server and display that in the UI. So that's what we are trying to do. So in the client, we can see like the socket.io client is initialized. Now going back to our thing, yesterday we tried to do, but we didn't like successfully completed that. Yesterday in the sense like we did this thing on the Monday. Okay, so back to thing, dashboard app, source app.js. I put on the documents app.js. Okay, so we have this socket IO client and set the state. So this is what we tried to do. So if you go back, okay, so if you go back to our client, lot of things here, right? I think I should open this in the separate code base. Okay, so we are opening this React application here. So in the app.js, it has this logo and the other stuff. Now what we are going to do is we are going to get rid of these things and import the socket IO like this. So import socket IO client from socket.io client, and this socket IO client so socket IO client, and we should be setting the state here. So this is what we have done yesterday, Monday stream. So constructor, we are setting the state in the temperature, localhost 3000 socket IO client, and on the component did mount we are looking for temperature input and the set the state back to the temperature here. And in the p tag we are going to add this dot state dot temperature. I think pretty much that's it, so I can remove or get rid of this stuff. So now you can see like this dot state dot temperature. For example, if I'm having 10 here and running this server, so if I'm going back to this thing, the state dot temperature is 10, right? So now we are going to hook up our temperature sensor module to this dashboard application. So whenever the random temperature is generated, it should be updated here. For that we have set up everything including the WebSocket client. So whenever the data that's coming in the temperature input from the WebSocket, so the WebSocket code is in the IoT Edge solution app.js. So here you can see like whenever there is a input message that's coming on to this dashboard module, I am sending the data to the message here. Okay, I think it should work. Now what I am going to do is going to modify the Docker image so that it would be running both client and server on the IoT Edge Docker, right? So Docker file AMD64, copy package.json. Okay, npm install production and copying app.js, that is this one, and user node node app.js. So that would be running this stuff. Now what I need to run is the client thing. So for that, I'm going to okay, let it be this. So this what I'm struggling a little bit. How to run both the server and this thing. Okay. So for that, npm start. So the express should be running the public stuff. So let me do the npm run build in the React application. Npm run build. So that is building the React application. So that's putting all static file in either this directory or the public directory here, right? Then I'm going to have that I'm going to have this express server to host that public HTML thing, right? So everything is should be running in the express itself, so that even the IoT Edge module that should be propagated into the client stuff. It's too much overhead on building sometimes, right? Okay, so the build folder is ready to be deployed. You may serve it with a static server. Okay, so but we are going to serve that using the expressor. So I'm having this build index.html and where is my other thing? So it has this minified chunk file that is in the static. I think it should have like one of my WebSocket client as well, right? So that's fine. Now what I'm going to do is copy this build directory and have this app.js stuff running. So for that thing, express let me do this thing, express static server. So how to serve the static files? Express static root and option. For example, here app.use express.static public. That means like the public directory should be served, right? Okay, so in that case for our thing it should be app.js, and we already have app. So app.use express.static of public. Instead of public it should be client slash build. Does that make sense? So now if I'm running node app.js, yeah, it says cannot find. Is that right link? Okay. Oh, it's because of the function here. The express already here, right? So the express.static, why it's not fine? Cannot find module express. Oh, okay, I got it. I missed that in here. Express. Oh, not the express without yes. It should be express with yes. Okay, so it has a 4.6 version. I'm installing the node modules and trying to do the same thing again. node app.js. Okay, it should be running on the IoT Edge environment only. I am not able to I'm not able to run it in the local. I should be able to find a way, but okay, let it be. Now let's fix this Docker file. Copy package.json slash. Now I am going to copy client slash build to dist. Does it make sense? Then probably I should be having like a dist here, or I just put like a public here, and instead of dist I just put like public. So node app.js, that should be taking care of everything, right? Now let's do the deploy stuff. Okay, before that okay, I think good. So build run IoT Edge solution in simulator. Let's see whether it's having error. Okay, it's building the Docker image including all the modules. Now we have modified this dashboard Docker, so let's see like whether the dashboard Docker is showing. Successfully tagged the temperature sensor. Did like the dashboard module build the Docker? I think I'm waiting for building the dashboard Docker because we have modified the dashboard Docker. Let's see. Probably I should break this by module development instead of having that in that the single IoT Edge solution. Let's see how this is going. And also I'm just looking like how to test the stuff module individually, because right now like we are just expecting I'm trying to find like what are the different tools that is available to simulate this IoT Edge solution and all, specifically on the messaging pattern, right? For example, we are saying like the ping module is sending the data and pong module is receiving. Let's assume like the real-time development scenario. So one team is building only the pong module, they don't know what's coming on the ping module, so how they would be sending the data to the pong module to test and develop that. So I'm interested in those kind of things. So let's see how that evolves. Okay, so the dashboard module, it's copying all the stuff and it's built the image. Okay, dashboard says server is running and IoT hub module client initialized and temperature sensor is sending the data. Okay, now the dashboard module AMD64, it's not exposing any port here, so we should be exposing the port as well, um, because the server is running in the 3001. So let's expose the port here. Where I have changed, somewhere I have changed, right? say AMD64 expose 3001. Stop and run it again. Okay, it's building the Docker. So we will at least like complete the dashboard wired up stuff before we moving to test the demo of my GraphQL talk. I will take a short break. Hold on a second. Okay, back to coding again. So now this module got started. Let's see whether we are able to access the localhost. Localhost, I think it's a 5000. Dashboard. Oh, I think it's 5000 only, right? Uh, 5000 in the sense like 5000 of, okay, let's say 3001 now. So we exposed at 3001 here. Let's see, there should be some instruction here like how to connect. So created a new message store, initializing twin manager 1, initializing configuration and the route, creating the key and all, generated the identity for client ID including my username thing. Okay, let's see whether we are able to get some information from this device. This is my device authentication ID stuff, right? Okay, it should be okay. IoT Edge port number. So here it is. IoT Edge hub map ports 567463 so that stability issues can't get it. It's a firewall for the IoT Edge deployment. It asked the port number. Let me add a new module here. It asked for port number here. For example, Node.js module, sample module. So you can see like a localhost 5000 module, right? So in our case, it should be localhost 5000 dashboard. But it says 404 page not found. So from accessing express from IoT, accessing HTTP server from IoT Edge, configuring a IoT Edge device to communicate through a proxy server. So this proxy server protocol is either HTTP or HTTPS. Configuring the daemons, edit edge. This is for IoT Edge thing, right? Okay, let's go and see here. Visual Studio Code, configuring the deployment thing, deploy to your device. Once you have deployed modules to your device, you can view all them in the IoT Edge device. That's fine. Deploy and monitor at scale, use. I think if I go with the tutorials, filter data with Azure functions, probably should be having. So creating the container registry, creating the function project. So they have this Azure function and building the IoT Edge solution, deployment template, deploying and run the solution. Okay, so classify image classifier IoT Edge. I'm trying to look a sample thing from Microsoft. So it's having the cookie cutter simulated module. Yeah, so here the simulated module that's having the module, right? How to get this Docker thing? Let me do the Docker PS that contains a ping module, temperature sensor, dashboard, Pong module. So here is the dashboard. So it's opening in localhost 5000 thing. So how to, it's opened in the 3001. So that means I should be open that in the 3001 port. It says refuse to connect. Okay. Docker container IP address. Docker, not this one. Docker inspect. Yeah. So our case container ID is nothing but temperature sensor. So the IP address is this one. It should expose 3001. It says waiting for. Probably index.html. Okay, let me do one thing. In the app.js, let's add app.get health check request response so response.send status is healthy and status 200 sending the data. So the port it's listening is 3001, server is running, so that's fine. And in the Docker file we expose the port 3001. Maybe in the deployment template.json dashboard. Okay, do we need to do like this exposed port as well in the Docker? That means like in the deployment template.json the dashboard contains like similar to this debug thing. Okay, so in this case we are exposing 3001 port 3001. Now if I am running that in the simulator, it should be working, right? Let's okay, let me stop the running stuff and build run IoT Edge solution in the simulator. It's building all the emulator again. And you can see like what are the containers running right now, right? So the one container is Azure IoT Edge, and ping module, pong module. So these are like our custom modules, and Azure IoT Edge Hub that is coming from the Microsoft.com registry. I should be going to this one and see like what it's really doing, or how it's exposing like the how it's doing those communication thing, or how it's managing those Docker containers in the runtime. So those are the things I'm interested to see. So let's go back and think about like the ideal solution, or like the ideal way how these things would be deployed in they're developed in real-time project, right? So in those case, let's assume like either these everything going to be a separate project, the modules. So we are having like multiple sensor modules, or the component or peripheral modules, right? So those modules would be developed separately. So that contains like the package.json and its own Docker file. So they would be developing that in the thing. The only stuff we need to make sure like the contract between the different modules, right? So we need some strong type contract, so that not the strong type, at least like the message level contract, so that the modules will know what are the messages it should be expecting from other modules, in the sense. Okay, now the project starts. Let's hit this 3001. Localhost 3001. Okay, React application is running here. So health check, it returned healthy. So I am able to expose the server that's running in the IoT Edge module, IoT Edge runtime, and I can able to see that from a local machine. But the temperature is not updated, so that one we would debug that a little bit. So it's in app.js, static js, app.js. So the socket client should be sending the data. Okay, so now the data, what is the data here? Oh, data contains another data. What's that? So data of data. So this data I need to parse that one. So that is from the socket.io. That means in the dashboard app.js, it's expecting the message. Okay, so this message is coming as a that message is coming as a byte. So we need to do like this one. So const message or data equal to this message.get bytes to string etf8. So this still the JSON string only, we need to pass this one to the object. That means JSON dot parse the string. It should be contain the data, and that data should be emitted into the socket. Okay, let me stop this, and I just log the console.log data here. run that in the simulator deployment template.json. Then I should be able to see the temperature changing here based on the data that is coming from the temperature sensor. So once that is done, then it's cool, right? So we have set up the layout, or we have set up the base project structure for these things. Now we should be adding like more sensors. The couple of things I'm trying to explore in the IoT Edge solution is how to connect with the hardware devices, and the next thing is how to implement the Azure function. So I'm just like looking to explore the things which is not mentioned in the Visual Studio docs, or probably in the real-time project scenarios. So the couple of things, it's already well documented in the docs, which is including like how to implement the customization, or Azure function, or application insights. So those are the things already documented. But I'm very curiously like how to set up the kiosk application for IoT Edge, or how to connect with the hardware devices, or how to connect with the peripheral devices. So those are the things I'm interested in. So let's explore those things. Okay, it's sending the build to Docker daemon again. Probably I should remove the ping and pong module as well. Okay. See. Okay, it started all those things. Okay, now the dashboard should be started. Yeah, dashboard got the temperature on the timestamp. So now here the data is coming correctly, and data temperature is 59. So if I'm running this, it should be dynamically changing, but it's not changing. Okay, so data temperature 24. Yeah, changed. Oh, every 5 seconds only we are changing, right? Yes. So you can see like every 5 seconds it's changing the temperature. Okay, next 5. Yeah. So you can see we are trying to build the dashboard application. So it sent the data from the temperature sensor to the React application. So that's great, right? So we try to set up these things. So let me commit this thing. Git status. It's okay. So git commit, adding dashboard module, pushing that to the fetching, pulling the changes that's in that okay, it's sending like every 5 seconds. I'm trying to see like every seconds or something, but temperature, so what's the temperature range, right, or sensor range? or sensor, what's the temperature module. Already like Microsoft created the sensor temperature module, IoT Edge module, simulated temperature sensor. So let's go to that one, see like how that looks like. So there is a simulated temperature sensor. So I'm expecting like the temperature should be coming like a random thing. View project on GitHub, the temperature sensor. So in the modules, device check, I think it's reading from the actual sensor. I'm I'm trying to look like simulated edge sensor. So source here, program. So this is sending in the C sharp. So the message relay machine temp. Okay. So here you can see it's going to send the data, and that data, where is the data they are generating? Yeah, they are generating like the random thing only. Um, Current temperature. So the current temperature, they are taking the machine thing, add value between okay, add value between this thing. Okay, so they are trying to create the temperature that's happening on like the smooth curve. Right now we are just like randomly generating the temperature. uh, for that they are just like having the temperature with the minimum, and just like incrementing that temperature. Not only the incrementing, they're just like either decrease or increase by 0.25 or 0.5, right? Then they are sending the data. Yeah, this looks like great. I'm just thinking like how to implement this in the JavaScript. So they are having this machine temp min, machine temp max, add value between minus zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.5. Oh, okay. Okay, we will take a look at this later, or I can use this simulated temperature sensor itself, but anyhow we are going to hook up with the real thing. But at least like we have created this temperature sensor, and we have hooked up with this dashboard. So what we are going to do is we are next thing we would be testing with the actual sensor. So let me order those things, or probably tomorrow we will add like some more sensor to this, and hook up with the dashboard, with a nice dashboard what we are looking for. Okay, that's great. So let me commit this code, push that. The one other thing we need to do is we need to test that in actual device as well. So we should be seeing that one either tomorrow. Now I need to make sure my demo is running for GraphQL. Let me add the marker here. So if you go to the github.com to my repository, github.com/case, I have this GraphQL doc, um, demo GraphQL Nest.js. So I'm going to just make sure this thing is working. I'm going to do the talk on like the South Florida this Saturday. So I'm making sure that one is working here. Git clone. Okay. So it has demo GraphQL. So it has REST API. So first I would go with the REST API. Installing that one. Oh, I don't have this. I don't have the local database and all. So for that one, I already have this schema SQL. Okay, so the instruction here is I need to install the SQL as well. So going back to this GraphQL Nest.js, okay, let it run this one. Okay, it ran and npm run start. It's starting the REST API. It should throw the error because I don't have the MySQL here. So install MySQL in the Mac. Brew install MySQL right here. So the server is running, but it's not able to connect to the 3306. That's my MySQL server. I didn't run that here. So I'm installing that MySQL in this mission. So once that is done, then I should be doing the other stuff. Okay, in the meanwhile we got updated into this repository. Great. So I will update the documentation on like how to run the dashboard as well. I think that's it pretty much today. So tomorrow we should be seeing like we would be adding more sensor data, more sensor modules into our project, and hook up the database in the nice UI. Then we will see like how to connect this sensor module into real device so that I am able to retrieve the data from actual sensor or the hardware device. So those are the things we we see like tomorrow. Till then, see you guys, and thanks for coming and watching, and thanks Brian. It's really like I'm really happy. So thanks for coming and watching this. Please come and stop by. My schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday 8 p.m. EST, and Saturday at noon 12 p.m. EST. This week Saturday I would not be making. This week Saturday I'm going to talk in South Florida Code Camp about the GraphQL and then SJS. Forget about the rest. So I'm going to drive up to Miami for that conference and going to talk about that. So this Saturday would not be, probably I would be trying to do on Monday, and probably the next week we should be seeing more detail on the IoT Edge solution. Thanks for coming. Thanks again. See you guys.